The galaxy is old. Civilizations rise and collapse like waves upon the endless sea of stars. Empires stretch across thousands of light years, their banners shimmering in nebulae, their fleets darkening the void. And yet, despite all their grandeur, one small blue world, hidden on the spiral arm of an unremarkable galaxy, was forgotten. Earth. To the galaxy, it was nothing. A backwater. Too young, too loud, too chaotic, a place of stone and fire, of tribal wars and primitive tools. The archives of the Galactic Council dismissed humanity as a curiosity, a species too fragile to survive beyond its cradle. They turned away, watching older, worthier civilizations shape the cosmos. But the galaxy was wrong. Because within that overlooked world burned something ancient, something dangerous, something the stars themselves had forgotten to fear. Whispers in the dark, it began with a listening post, high on the edge of the Orion verge. The Tal Shen maintained a station designed to monitor rogue transmissions. For centuries, the listening post heard nothing but static, echoes of collapsing stars and the faint chatter of nearby civilizations. But then, one day, something unusual reached their receivers. It was music, raw, unrefined, filled with strange rhythms and defiant crescendos. A human broadcast, bouncing endlessly through the void. The operators, bemused, archived it under primitive, cultural noise. They laughed at the chaos of it, at the voices that seemed to scream against the silence of space. But then came the other signals, test detonations of nuclear weapons, recorded decades earlier, their invisible fingerprints etched into the cosmic background. Radar sweeps that pierced further than they should have. Probes flung into the abyss with no guidance, but curiosity and courage. The data puzzled the Tal Shen overseers. How could a species barely out of its cradle already grasp at the stars? They forwarded the report to the Council. The Council dismissed it. Backwater primates, they decreed. Let them play. And so Earth was ignored again, until the war, the Kareth Dominion was expanding. A warlike empire, they devoured worlds on the rim, enslaving populations and burning cities from orbit. When their fleets swept across the Perseus Reach, refugees fled into Council space, begging for help. The Council debated, as they always did, counting costs and alliances while the Dominion consumed more systems. One small transmission escaped their notice. It was a distress signal from a world the Dominion had not even considered a threat. A desperate cry in crude binary, blasted from the surface of Sol 3. Humans had heard whispers of the invaders. They saw the skies burn with streaks of fire as Dominion scouts annihilated a neighboring colony on the outer edge of Earth's system. Humanity should have hidden. They should have cowered. They should have waited for the predators to leave. That was what the galaxy expected. But humanity had never been patient. Prey. The first Dominion scout ship entered Earth's orbit, a sleek predator of obsidian alloy. Its crew looked down upon blue oceans and green continents, expecting awe and surrender. What they found instead was defiance. The humans fired. Primitive weapons. Yes, metal projectiles launched from the ground, warheads carried by old rockets, interceptors scrambled with desperation. To the Dominion, it was laughable. But to Earth, it was war, and war was in their blood. The scout ship was crippled, damaged. Bleeding atmosphere into the void, it limped away. The Dominion commanders laughed at the loss. A lucky strike, they said, nothing more. But across the stars, whispers began to spread. A backwater world had resisted. A forgotten species had bitten the hand of an empire. And those whispers carried weight, for those who listened closely remembered something buried in history. Ancient warnings etched into crumbling archives, speaking of a species yet to come, A species that would not bend, would not break. A species the galaxy should never provoke. In the shadows of their council chambers, voices began to murmur. Could it be them? No, that species is myth, a prophecy, nothing more. And yet, the humans had drawn blood. The galaxy watched as Earth braced for the storm, a world on the brink of annihilation. And in that moment, the galaxy realized something unsettling. Humanity was not merely another species. Humanity was a question. And the answer was coming. The Dominion did not forgive. When news reached their warlords that a primitive backwater had dared strike one of their ships, the halls of their fortress world roared with laughter, then with fury. To be injured by prey was an insult. To retreat from such prey was unforgivable. "Burn their world," declared the High Commander. "Make their oceans boil and their sky ash. Let every species who watches know the price of defiance." And so they came. The second wave was not a scout. It was an armada. Dozens of war cruisers, dark and bristling with weapons, slid from hyperspace into the Sol system. Their shadows eclipsed the stars, their cannons primed to reduce Earth to rubble. The galaxy. This was the end. A primitive world had raised its voice, and now it would be silenced. But to Earth, it was something else. On the ground, humanity trembled, but did not break. Governments bickered, yes, but for once in their fractured history, they united against a common enemy. Old rivalries vanished beneath the weight of survival. Nuclear arsenals were unlocked. Laboratories went silent, working day and night. Satellites shifted in orbit. Warships, crude compared to Dominion dreadnoughts, were armed and launched. Every hand, every mind, every heart turned toward resistance. When the Dominion fleet descended, they found not panic, but fire. The skies above Earth ignited. Missiles streaked upward in great arcs, leaving white scars across the heavens. Railguns thundered from hidden silos. Jets and rockets swarmed like hornets, hurling themselves at predators far beyond their weight. The first human fleet, if it could be called that, rose from the seas and deserts. Old destroyers converted for spaceflight, modular carriers bristling with makeshift cannons, civilian craft stripped and weaponized, a patchwork armada held together by stubbornness and desperation. Against the Dominion's sleek perfection, it was chaos incarnate. And yet, chaos had its own power. The Dominion fired first. Plasma beams seared through the void, slicing human vessels in half. Hundreds died in moments, their screams lost to the vacuum. Cities trembled as orbital bombardments rained down, entire districts vanishing in firestorms. But the humans struck back with fury. Nuclear warheads detonated in the void, blossoms of terrible light that blinded Dominion sensors and tore apart shielding. Pilots rammed their fragile craft into enemy hulls, detonating. Payloads at point-blank range. Makeshift hacking programs, crude and brutal, clawed into Dominion comms and sowed confusion among their fleets. The galaxy watched, stunned. This was not how primitives fought. This was not the silence of prey. This was the roar of a cornered beast. And it terrified them. On the council world of Tharis, delegates stared in disbelief at the holographic feeds smuggled out of the Sol system. "They fight like no species we've seen," whispered a Zelth ambassador, his tendrils trembling. "They are reckless," sneered another, "sacrificing lives without hesitation. It is madness." "No," said the oldest among them, her voice low, heavy with memory. "It is not madness. It is war as only humans can wage it." She spoke then of the ancient archives, faded records left behind by civilizations long extinct, warnings of a species not yet risen. They had no empire, no fleets, no advanced technology. Yet they carried within them something more dangerous than all the armadas of the stars combined. They are the unfinished weapon of the universe, she whispered. The storm that consumes itself and others, the flame that grows brighter under pressure. They are not prey. They are war, given flesh. The chamber fell silent. For the first time in millennia, the council felt something alien to them. Dread. Back. In the Sol system, the battle raged. Humanity bled. Cities crumbled. Millions perished as Dominion firestorms swept across the earth. Yet with every blow struck against them, humans struck back harder. A Dominion war cruiser fell, torn apart by a swarm of nuclear strikes. Another was boarded in a suicidal assault. Its corridors turned into killing fields by soldiers armed with nothing but shotguns and blades. The Dominion's commanders, who had expected a day's amusement, now found themselves weeks deep into a quagmire. Every victory cost them dearly. Every loss rippled through their fleet like rot. And then came the turning point. On the 27th day of the siege, the Dominion flagship descended into low orbit, intending to unleash a final strike to shatter Earth's resistance. Its weapons charged, its cannons glowing with death. But humanity was waiting. From beneath the seas rose a Leviathan. An ancient submarine, refitted in desperation, its hull reinforced, its missile tubes armed with humanity's last, deadliest warheads. The USS Leviathan, once destined for retirement, now carried the hopes of a species. It surfaced in fire and fury, launching its payload into the skies. Dozens of nuclear warheads arced upward, their trails converging upon the flagship. Dominion. Point defense systems screamed, intercepting many, but not all. The sky lit with suns. The flagship cracked, groaned, and fell. A monster of obsidian brought down by a relic of Earth's oceans. Its carcass split the heavens, scattering debris across the stratosphere. For the first time in history, a Dominion flagship had been destroyed. Not by an empire, not by a rival fleet, but by the backwater species of a forgotten world. The Dominion reeled. They had come to make an example, and instead they had become the example. Across the galaxy, species whispered the same words. The humans fought back. The council convened in emergency session. Some demanded immediate contact. Others urged caution. A few, the oldest, demanded quarantine. But one truth was undeniable. Humanity had been underestimated. And the galaxy, in its arrogance, had made a mistake it could never undo. Because humanity had tasted war among the stars. And once awakened, the fire would never die. The Dominion should have left. After the fall of their flagship, most empires would have retreated to lick their wounds. But the Dominion was built on pride, and pride is a poison that blinds. They sent for reinforcements. Entire fleets now massed. On the edge of Sol space, determined to crush the upstart species and erase the humiliation. For the Dominion, this was no longer war. It was vengeance. For humanity. It was survival. But something had changed. The first battle had united Earth. The second had scarred it, yes, but also awakened something buried deep in the human soul. Old divisions were burned away in fire. Nations became irrelevant. Borders meaningless. Humanity was one, and in that unity a new kind of power was forged. They no longer fought only for survival. They fought for victory. In underground bunkers. And orbital stations, human scientists worked with fevered desperation. Captured Dominion wreckage was dismantled, studied, copied. Their alloys were analyzed, their engines reverse-engineered. Where other species might take centuries to adapt, humans compressed the work into weeks. They learned, they improvised, they adapted. And where Dominion technology failed to fit, humanity filled the gaps with its own inventions, brutal, inelegant, but devastatingly effective. rail cannons built from industrial machinery, plasma conduits spliced into old fusion reactors. Computer viruses written by children in basement rooms, capable of worming into Dominion firewalls. Every setback, every death, only fueled the fire. This was the secret the galaxy had forgotten. Humans did not simply endure. They evolved under pressure. The Council watched in growing horror as reports flooded in. Their fleets. They're changing, murmured one observer. Every engagement, they fight differently. They adapt. Too quickly, another said. It is unnatural. It is human, whispered the eldest among them, her voice grave. By the time the Dominion reinforcements arrived, the humans were no longer the same prey they had first encountered. Their fleets had grown, their weapons sharpened, their unity hardened into steel. The Dominion expected to face a dying ember. Instead, they found a firestorm. The Second Great Battle of Sol began in silence. Hundreds of Dominion ships descended, their formation flawless, their confidence absolute. Before them, the human fleet awaited, ragged, smaller, patched together from scavenged wreckage and welded steel. By every measure, it should have been annihilation. The Dominion opened fire. The void erupted with plasma and missiles, beams of light carving the darkness. The human fleet staggered beneath the storm, but it did not break. It moved with strange rhythm, scattering, regrouping, striking in unexpected patterns. Where the Dominion anticipated retreat, humans charged. Where the Dominion sought pursuit, humans vanished into debris fields and re-emerged with ambushes. It was not elegance, it was not beauty, it was chaos. And chaos devoured perfection. The turning point came when humanity unveiled its first stolen prize, a Dominion cruiser, captured and reforged with human brutality. Its hull bore scars, its weapons were jagged and overcharged, but it moved under human command. The galaxy gasped as the humans turned the Dominion's own weaponry against them, firing salvos that ripped through enemy lines. The message was clear. Humanity did not fear their technology. Humanity would take it. By the battle's third day, Dominion losses mounted. Their fleets, designed to dominate through terror, now found themselves hunted. Human pilots fought like demons, their ships dancing on the edge of destruction. Every kill was celebrated, every loss avenged tenfold. The Dominion realized, too late, the truth. This was not a war of extermination. This was the birth of something new. And then, Earth spoke. From the ruins of shattered cities, from the silence of mass graves, from the firelit skies, humanity's voice rose. Not through songs nor desperate pleas, but through a transmission. Broadcast across every channel, every frequency, hijacking the very networks of the Dominion. A simple message carried on a human voice. We are not your slaves. We are not your prey. We are humanity. And we are coming. The words echoed across the stars. To some it was madness. To others it was prophecy fulfilled. To all it was a warning. The Dominion broke. Their fleets, once so certain, faltered. Under the weight of endless losses, their commanders argued, their soldiers wavered. And when the humans struck their final blow, a coordinated assault that split the Dominion armada into fragments and drove them from Sol space, the galaxy witnessed something it had not seen in millennia. An empire fled. Not from another empire. Not from a council, not from a coalition of worlds. From Earth. When the last Dominion ships retreated, silence fell over the galaxy. In that silence, every species reconsidered what they thought they knew. Earth was not a backwater. Humanity was not a mistake. Humanity was something older, something darker, something written into the marrow of existence itself. The Council gathered one final time. Their voices hushed. They were supposed to be nothing. One delegate whispered. They are everything. answered another dot. And the eldest among them, the one who remembered the warnings of ancient archives, closed her eyes and spoke the words that would forever define this age. The galaxy has forgotten war. Humanity will remind it. On Earth, fires still burned, but in those ashes, a new dawn rose. Humanity looked to the stars, no longer with curiosity, but with resolve. They had been underestimated, dismissed, forgotten. Never again, for the galaxy, had finally realized what Earth truly was. Not a backwater, not a mistake, but the spark in the darkness, the storm in the silence. The species that would not bow, humanity, and the galaxy would never forget it.